realize this is the first time I've spoken to you in a good month, so hi. Hope everything's going well. I just want to quickly go over these two sheets here for you to hopefully help you grasp them or whatnot. Now, both of these sheets deal with the book 1984, which you will read in grade 12. So you can just, these are just as an example to apply to your own novel. Okay, so the first one deals with, we can ignore the works cited up there for now. The first one deals with sample quotation formatting. So there are a number of ways in which you can format your quotations within your essay, and I highly, highly recommend you try to change up the way you do it. So don't always do your quotations the same way. Also, I mentioned that you should try for at least one per supporting point paragraph. That is, kind of the bare minimum. You should have probably more than one, but you gotta have at least one. Okay, so there's a couple of ways you can set up your quotations. So sometimes, the first one here, using the author's name in the sentence. So in this case, you've already used the author's last name. In this case, it's Orwell. You've used his last name in the lead up to your quotation. So in this instance, I've got two quotations: the word trumpet and the word rasping. So I've already used Orwell in the lead up. Orwell uses specific mechanical terms to describe the sounds of the telescreen, such as quote trumpet and quote rasping. Okay, and then after, you'll notice I have bracket 25 close bracket period. Oops. Let's undo that. Okay, so two things to mention. These quotations obviously come from page 25. We need, after the quotation is finished, we need to have the page number in brackets. And then crucially, the period for the sentence goes outside the bracket. This thing here is called a citation. Okay, so if you've used the author's name in the lead up, you do not need to use the author's name in the citation. Okay, next, if you have multiple quotations from different pages, so let's pretend in this example that trumpet and rasping don't occur on the same page. And you'll also notice that I did not use Orwell's name in my lead-in here. So I have the voice on the telescreen is described as quote trumpet and quote rasping. Then we have bracket Orwell space 25 comma space 27 close bracket period. That is your citation, and in this case, trumpet would be from 25, rasping would be from 27. So if you have quotation that either from two different parts of the book, or let's just say a quotation overlaps, 2 pages, then that is how you do that. Not using the author's name in the sentence is very similar to this one. However, we want to, it's a different quotation this time. It says, the children in 1984 have been conditioned by the party to be informants, : So you'll note in this, in the first example and in this example, I've kind of given the reader of my essay a clue as to what the quotation is going to say. So in this one, I know the quotation. I've told the reader the quotation is going to be about children conditioning, having conditioned by the party. So I set it up with a colon, then a quotation. I go through the quotation, end it, and then comes my citation here. Orwell 24 period. Okay? Now, sometimes you will want to quote a long section of the book. I will caution against doing this very often. Usually you should be able to pick out 1 or 2 or 3 crucial sort of sentences or lines, but it may be that you need a longer section of a quotation. So if you type your quotation out and it becomes longer than 4 lines typed, so in your essay, if your quotation appears as more than 4 lines of your essay, then you need to do a block quotation. So the same example as the one we just did, the same lead in with a colon, and then we go down a space, and you'll notice that this has been tabbed over. It's been indented. The whole thing has been indented, and it's single spaced. Okay, so there we have the longer version of the quotation there. A wretched woman, yada yada yada, children horrible. Were systematically turned into ungovernable savages, and yet this produced in them no tendency whatever to rebel against ... the party. World War 24. Now, crucially, we need to talk about this ... here. That's called an ellipsis, and that is where I have taken some words out of this quotation, if you can believe it, and I've removed some words from the quotation, but you'll notice that it still makes sense as a sentence. So there's some details in here that I took out, but what I left is still a perfectly grammatical sentence. No tendency whatever to rebel against the party. That's a normal sentence, but I've taken out some details here, and you're allowed to do that, but you need to put an ellipsis, is what that's called, the old ... and that's what that signifies, that you've taken something out. Now, very importantly, I want to stress that you should not, that the citation, these things, and I realize I don't have an example, which is why we're going to talk about it now. Oops. The citation goes at the end of the sentence, not the end of the quotation. I cannot stress that enough. So your citation will always be followed by a period, every single time. It doesn't matter if your quotation ends further towards the beginning of your sentence, the citation goes at the end of the sentence. Okay, so if we wanted to switch this one up here to be an example of that, it would be something like the voice on the telescreen is described. I'm really knocking the typing out of the park here this morning. Is described as trumpet and rasping which indicates, sorry, which exemplifies the of living in society depicted, actually I'll say the society Orwell depicts in 1984. Okay, now comes, I've used his name here, so we don't need his name, but we do need, let's use the same one, 25, 27, close bracket, period. Okay, so even though my quotations ended up here, my citation goes at the end of the sentence in which the quotations are, appear, excuse me. Now, another super important thing here is you'll notice that I needed a comma before which, and for some reason it goes inside the quotation marks, and George Orwell did not use a comma after rasping, probably, I don't know, but when you are punctuating around quotations, that comma there that I needed for my sentence goes inside the quotation marks. I think it's more of an aesthetic thing than anything else, but nonetheless, that's a rule there. Okay, so when you're looking for quotations and then subsequently putting them in your essay, please refer back to this video and this sheet and use it to make your quotations perfect. Okay, I'm going to go over the sheet in a separate video, otherwise this will take forever to upload. So I will be back at you in a couple minutes here.